why does BCE have so many preferred shares? If you look at BCE, it has a list that is, well, I'm not going to call it a mile long, but it's a ridiculous amount of preferred shares. Now, these are all different preferred shares. If you look at something like BCE PRL, which you've got to scroll to find, this is a 5-year reset. You can also look at other ones from BCE. They have 3-month floatings, which would be an example of BCE PRN. This one adjusts itself constantly on a floating 3-month basis. So as interest rates go up, this will pay more. As they go down, this will pay less. Often in general, these will pay a bit more than the 5 years, but that's more on the effect of what is the future interest rate expected for Canadian rates. They also have 3-month floatings like BCE PRZ. So this resets similar to a 5-year, but the way its interest rate is calculated is different. BCE has an absolute plethora of preferred shares, so it makes it really difficult to choose the best one. And really, the best one is depending on your personal investment goals. Do you want something that's going to stay with a steady rate no matter what over the next 5 years? Well, then you want a 5-year reset. BCE PRQ is going to reset the next time in 2028, September 30th. So if you purchase BCE PRQ right now, you know that it's going to pay out the same dividend for nearly 5 years from now. If that's a calculation that you're happy with, then this is the preferred share for you. Especially when you start to see these come down. Like this is getting near par value at $23.33. But when it's down at around even $19, and you'll see some of these will dump down to even $12 during COVID lows. That means, well, at this time it was on a different interest rate. But if it dumps down here again, then it's well worth paying attention to because it's going to be paying that exact same dividend and it offers the opportunity for not only price appreciation, but a consistent dividend over the next nearly 5 years. Now, if we look at something like BCE PRL, this is a 3-month floater. The dividend that this pays is going to constantly fluctuate. If we even look at the dividends here, 38.3 cents, 42.5 cents, 42.8, 43.1, 37.1, 1.123. As the Canadian interest rate fluctuates, the dividend payment for this will fluctuate with that on a 3-month rolling cycle. You can expect for this, as the interest rates in Canada go down, the payments to go down alongside of it for this particular preferred share since it's a 3-month floating. It gives you a way to kind of play long-term interest rates. And as for the negative spread preferred shares from BCE, such as BCE.PR.F, these will trade similarly to the 5-year resets. Since it is a 5-year reset, just the way in which it calculates with the Canadian interest rate at the time of its reset. So for this one, its reset is in 2030, the second month of 2030. So you know it's going to give a consistent interest rate. And the only difference is the way it will be calculated at that time versus the current Canadian 5-year rate. Within one single stock, you have a plethora of choices of different types of preferred shares. And then if you look at the overall Canadian preferred share market, there are an absolute majority of 5-year rate resets. That's the most common one. 5-year rate resets at $25 par value. But there is a lot of different types of preferred shares and different prices that offer the individual investor, if you're willing to do your research, quite an edge in the market. And they're really worth looking into individually. If you want to find out anything more, look in the description below or send me an email. I'm always looking for more ideas on what to talk about with preferred shares.